Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. So today we're going to be working on Silver Pentacle for Airship 27. So we went through and had we did the covers, or we did the internal work yesterday, and completed all of the things that we needed to complete for all 8 of the illustrations internally. We're going to still need to do some work on them, I think, because I really kind of want to bring up the first like 3 or 4 illustrations to bring them kind of up to the same standard as the last 4, because I feel like the last 4 really popped, and the first 4, the drawing doesn't need to be done, but I feel like it didn't have enough of the kind of the gritty kind of chaos that I was coming up with. So we're going to do that today. We're going to do that later. We're not going to do that today. We're going to do that later. So today we're going to go on ahead and do work on the cover, things like that. But first, let's head on over and do our morning warm-ups, shall we? So let's go over to the desk and do the warm-ups. Okay. As we do every morning, we're going to do our morning warm-ups without a pencil. Clearly, this is a thing. I think I have. There we go. Now, in this case, because I accidentally left my pencil in the other room, and I'm not going to go fetch it at this point in time because we're in the middle of all of this, we're going to do this with blue line, which will be hard to see, but it's the pencils have cut. So we're going to take just a normal, in this case, it's a scale. You can use anything. You can use a regular ruler if you want. And we're just going to take this scale. I use the scale because I can pick it up easy, right? Just pick it up like that. That's very simple. So I'm going to draw some short lines. One line right here. Don't go all the way to the end. And right here. Then we're going to draw some beginning and end marks. So one there, one there. It'll be kind of hard for you guys to see because it's in blue, but I promise you it's there. And then we're going to do a couple of long lines that go along the edge of this picture like this. I'm sure that looks like nothing is there. We'll go along here. We're going to take this is a French curve. Now, if you don't have a French curve, you can use anything. Like I've used a tape roll to just trace the inside. It's kind of hard to see this, but the end result is going to be that there are 2 very long lines here, 2 shorter lines here, then dots to start and end, dots to start and end, and then some curves for that there. I'm going to take a normal 0.4 line or a 0.4 fine liner, and we're going to line this here. I'm going to start here, and the goal here is to lift your elbow and lift your wrist. You can use your pinky to guide if you need to, so you can put your pinky down on the paper, but you don't want to be down like this, because if you do, this is all the range you get, right? Or this. Either way, you're getting a motion arm, which is giving you the impression of a curve on all points. So you want to lift your elbow, lift your wrist, use your pinky as a guide. You just draw along the line here. You can go as fast or as slow as you need to. All right. Hey, George. There we go. And when it comes to these departure and arrival points, what you want to do is put your pen down here and look to your destination, right? So we're just going to, don't look where your pen is, look at where your pen's going. This is practice for that. And don't worry, you're going to wander off target. It's just the way it goes, right? I'm going to do the same thing here with these very long lines. I got this idea, by the way, from a website called drawabox.com, which had the guy's concept was that he was there we go. And then this is the last day of March, right? So going ahead and put the date in. The guy's concept was that we are missing some basic drawing skills. I've been drawing for 30 years, and I've got to admit, I can't draw a straight line without assistance. Top to bottom. So I've thought about that. That's all right. You heard me, but you didn't hear the opening credits. I'm still wondering what's going on with that. Why we're having a problem with the opening credits. I don't know. So back here. So yeah, I was thinking about top to bottom too. And I think that that's probably not a bad idea. I just forgotten we were doing that because I came back from Texas and forgot, as is typical. So I'll remember to do that tomorrow. So yeah. Huh. You and it's okay if you don't stick around all day, my friend. It is totally cool. I appreciate you just being here. So we're going to switch to the monitor here. I asked yesterday for a layout. What were the rules for the cover? And this was where they sent me this. I have no control over my tablet. Looks like my tablet's not responding, which is you, maybe. Let's see. No, I still don't have control over my tablet. Every day it's something else, isn't it? Oh, for crying out loud. All right. The tablet needs to be unplugged and plugged back in every so often. To remind it that it's a tablet. Clearly. There we go. There we go. Alley-oop. There we go. Now we have control again. Okay. I didn't see the first two, and it was kind of interesting because I can see them. You'd posted the first two on the side note over here, but they didn't show up on the screen. Then you posted again, and it showed up on the screen. And I was like, did it consolidate that? I was actually kind of wondering. Because it did kind of look like it did that. Looked like it kind of consolidated the commentary together. Oh, look, we can become famous. Good heavens. That's like 3 different Twitch users right there. I'm going to delete them because there's no reason to have them up on my screen. Once I figure out where my mouse went, there's my mouse. Block list. Oops, something went wrong. Ha ha ha. Block list. Block list. Reload. I'm going to turn off the chat overlay and reboot it. I'm going to have to tell them about that though. Oh, I got them. There. I think I can control blocking now. Good old Twitch bots. Hey, Colton. Welcome to the show. Man, I've missed you. I've missed all the RTG guys. Can't tell you. I've been like, not just like the RTG guys meeting, because of course we haven't met in a year now, and you're a little over a year. But I miss like just getting together and drawing together, you know? But Good to see you, Colton. I missed you, man. Okay, so I'm going to sit here. We're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing on this. How's life out where you are? I think Shauna has moved out into your neighborhood now. I feel like Shauna's moved out into your neighborhood. Which, you know, considering your neighborhood's huge, she just went that way. And so she's near you. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I miss the drawing atmosphere too. Although I thought we were already... No, we're on slow mode in Discord. Which I thought was particularly funny because it says, you're on slow mode in Discord in this channel, but you're lucky you don't have to go slow. I'm like, thanks. Since I'm the administrator of this channel. I'm glad I don't have to be slow. Okay, so there are two ways to handle like a cover like this. And Colton, for since I don't know if you heard this, but I did all the interior art for this book. This is for Ron Fortier up in Fort Collins. And I did all the interiors for it. Oh, I thought you were in California. How did I get confused that you were in California? I don't know. Oh, maybe because you said you went back to school, and I guess I just assumed that there are no schools in Colorado, even though I went to them. So, you know, there's that. I just assume that there's, you know, no schools here. We just don't have schools. Apparently. You've been doing good work, though. Colton, so anyway, oh, gotcha. That's why you were supposed to, but then COVID. Yeah, we were supposed to have another kiddo in this household, but COVID. So there's that. So this cover, well, what had happened was that, yay, COVID. I did all 8 illustrations internally and finished the last one yesterday. And while I was coming up on the last one, Ron said, hey, you want to take a shot at the cover? And I was like, oh, cover. This is so amazing. But now I have to do a painting for the cover. And he's like, drop some sketches. Let's see what we got. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about sketches, you know? So I'm like, I don't even know where to go with this one. So I've been kind of looking at other books and kind of trying to figure out, okay, what are good sketches for, you know, what would be good cover material? And I realized there's one of sort of 2 ways that people handle book covers. Directly, like here is Bob, the main character of this book, standing here in the cover. And then the other is like totally obscure, like here's a bunch of stars with pizza flying into it, or you're like, what does that have to do with the story? I don't even know. So I think looking at the rest of the ones that come in for that particular group for Airship 27, I feel like they're more head on, so like doing something where maybe we've got like, the broken cityscape here, where we had done this with one of them, and then you've got like character 1 and character 2, sort of in the foreground sort of thing. So Colton, you were planning on heading out to California, right? I mean, I'm not crazy. I'm not having like issues, right? We could have them sitting down, but I don't feel like that's a good power move per se. And I feel like, let's look at some of the other examples. Because we had for a moment there, that wasn't what I wanted to bring up. That's what I wanted to bring up. We had Airship 27 images. Yeah, because I mean, like, gotcha. So I'm not crazy. So we look at like some of the things that are on here. We get kind of like this, this, right? Kind of looking at that style. We have like a scene coming out of, yeah, I'm excited to see what I'll do with this cover too, because I have no earthly idea what I'm doing. I am completely out of my element now. So, the Sands of Forever. I love some of these names. So, for those of you who are new to this particular thing, Airship 27 is pulp. They're very pulp. They're into the pulp genre, and they're revitalizing the pulp genre. So they've got a lot of those super dramatic names and things like that that come from that culture, that environment. And I love it. I think it's just awesome. The Sands of Forever. Look at this one. This one's good. I love this one. That one's good. Okay, so we now know sort of what the expectation here is. We're going to have I feel like, though, our main two characters are, yeah, I know. You're reading for my cover forever. Brent's being snarky. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's clear this out, because I'm going to try something else. I think post-apocalyptic is definitely where we're going on this one. But we've got two styles here. We've got looking directly at the camera and not looking directly at the camera. I kind of like the Sands of Forever. I mean, that one's kind of cool in its own way. Brent, you definitely have the right and authority to be snarky. I have been sort of trying to get to this for a while. I announced that I had this cover in January. So, I mean, you've got kind of a right to make a statement there. I've been kind of working on this one for a little while and not getting there. Okay. So I think what we're going to do is we've got to have them standing. So let's talk about just placement here, right? If we look at the Sands of Forever, we've got I assume she's the protagonist in the foreground here, which is good because we've got that person in the foreground too. The girl is a good foreground person. And I'll put the guy in the background like this. And then we'll put I feel like, since it's post-apocalyptic and somewhat we've got kind of why am I doing this all directly on the cover? What is my problem? Speaking of not having enough sleep last night, actually I did sleep really well last night, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why I'm having a problem with this. Let's make a new layer. And now we'll do the sketching. So I want to look at how we want to bring the eye in, right? In this instance, since they're reading this way, going that way, let's try this again. They're reading this way, heading that way like that. I'm going to want the spiral to be like this, right? So whatever comes in on the art, I'm going to want the most important piece of it, most important block to be here. Because I'm going to want this to come in, and then we're going to move around to the center to whatever is key, which will be right in the dead center of this, which I think could be the pentacle for the guy, right? And that could be him holding the device right here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put her right here. And then him right here. And he's going to be holding the silver pentacle, the design, the thing that's most important to this story, like this. And maybe he will be looking down at it. So we'll give him looking down. We'll come back and fix this in a second once I get the basic design in. Then over here, we'll just put post-apocalyptic land all over the place. Right? So you just got buildings that are, falling apart and rubble and like that. Okay. Now that we've sort of come up with a design, we can rough it in. Yes, it is. So if we look at that, let's look at a reference to this. We're sort of coming up with the same critter as this shot right here, right? So this is the shot that I'm sort of aping, but I'm not really going to ape to some degree. But this is kind of where I'm headed, is right here. Same sort of layout, except I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to put her in the front. I'm going to put him behind. I'm going to dress him like this, but I might dress her in her steampunk outfit from later on and see if that works. So let's do that. On this layer, we've got him behind her. So he's going to stand here. I'm going to give I think I'm standing like this. You'll be holding the silver pentacle up like so. Give the box for the chest here. Let's do this correctly. And then hips. And we're sort of getting a little bit of vanishing point is over here somewhere. So it's out on this side. Go down like that. Go down over like that. Sort of that kind of thing. Have him like this. Now, he probably have his hand in his pocket, I would guess. We'll come up with a better sketch in a second and refine this sketch in a moment. Meanwhile, we're going to have her right here. Now, since I'm going to change her outfit so that she's wearing a dress instead of what she's wearing in this particular shot that's over here. I'm going to pick the dress that she wore later on. Which is this shot. Right, I'm going to pick this dress for her. So that's where we're headed on that one. So I'm going to have her, I'm going to give her a little bit of a jaunt to her body so that she's sort of like she's kind of got her hand on her hip, like so. We'll bow that in there. Right, we'll give her, I remember how I designed the character. The party dress, yes. Okay, it's the vest. Like so. He pretty much kept the same thing going for him. Round off her chin. And I feel like he's too big now. So I'm going to take this part. I'll have to redraw some pieces, but that's okay. Okay, so we'll kind of move there and that. That's moved through here. So give her little party dress, poofy arms. And then we'll him. I feel like even with this, he could be looking off into the distance. The character, from what I remember in the book, I mean, from just pulling back onto the thought process of the book, he's ethereal. And so kind of coming up with the idea of him being somewhat ethereal seems like not a bad idea. And maybe we could have him standing there with the device and just standing there, just ready to like close the device or snap it shut or something like that, like close his hand over it while he looks off into the distance importantly. Oh, that's a lot of eraser. We probably don't want that. No. Let's go ahead and erase what we had there. All right. Let's talk about looking off into the distance importantly. Mr. I have a serious chin. I have a chin, and I'm not afraid to use it. That's way too big. I don't even know what I was thinking. There you go. Like this, looking off into the distance, importantly. There we go. Still too big. Boy, I mean, the guy is cocky, but I don't think he's that cocky. Just not making this work here. There we go. I'm looking off into the distance, importantly. I'm looking off importantly. Right? Riker chin. I'll kill you with my chin. Right. Death by Chin, which I actually think was like a book written by Bruce Campbell. Death by Chin. Bruce Campbell, who had who still does have an impressive chin. You know what? I'm just going to round him over like this. So rather than looking at where we are here, it's going to be important. So he's using the device as sort of, I don't know, like a compass or something like that. So he's going to be holding the device like a compass. We'll see. I haven't gotten there yet. The other thing I'm noticing is that it's not following my spiral. I'm coming through here, and I'll catch it at this point here on the spiral. So either I have to bring the pentacle out to here, which I probably should, to keep it in there, and then you go through. But the other thing is I need to be able to go through, like you want to come up through here in a spiral, or maybe come up through here. So it's okay. It'll work. Make sure that we've got the eye line working the way it's supposed to, though. Kind of see, though, when we're talking about eye line and things like that, how important it is. Cancel. So there we go. We'll do that, and we'll do that. That puts his eyes directly on this spiral, and it puts the pentacle directly on the spiral. But you can see how this has made it more pleasing and gives it more depth, oddly. Putting it into that spiral works really well. So now we will straighten him up. Like so. And give him his coat. I'm actually going to flip the coat around. He's got his hands in his pockets, like so. At least one hand in his pocket. Sort of like that. I'm going to let her dress flow a little bit here. It is a golden rule. That is exactly what it is. It's the golden ratio. That's the golden something rule. The golden ratio. That's exactly right. And the golden ratio is kind of one of those weird rules that you're like, huh, that can't be, ha ha ha. And then it works, and you're like, hey, that's weird. A lot of it has a lot to do with the fact that the nature in general is in that spiral. It's like the spiral that you see when you see shells on the beach, or shells from snails and things like that. That golden ratio that moves down into a mathematical setup, it looks very good. And so it makes for a good setup when you do a design like this. We're going to move through her down to the pentacle, and then up through his eyes, and then back around. right? And that's going to put this in a very nice setup, a very gentle and kind setup. But that also allows us there we go, just like that. I'll set them up like so. Golden ratio. Yes. Oh, totally. That's the whole point is our eyes gently follow through. They'll gently follow through the loop of that. Then you put like the author right here, right? So that as you're passing through here, the author goes here. Like that. And then it just click, 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 click. And you're just moving through that piece. It's one of those graphic design rules that helps everything look nice. But it's interesting, as any graphic artist will tell you, just having a battle plan for your design is extraordinarily, I mean, that can change everything. You could just have blocks of color, and as long as they're following the golden ratio or they're following some mathematical rule, people will find it generically pleasing. And I might even raise her up to right here. That might not be bad either. I personally love breaking into titles. It's a thing. I'm horrible, and I know it. But if I make her slightly larger like this, then it pulls the eye through the title, and that works. I should probably cut that top part off, though. But it pulls the eye through like so and into the eyes. So there we go. All righty. Now that we've done sort of the layout of the front part of this, we'll check a couple of things. For one, we want to check our vanishing points and our distance from the distance, or from the horizon. Having like words are a thing. I'm going to do a horizon check here. Here's our horizon. So we're going to make sure that everything's kind of coming from this horizon line, which is somewhere out here, right? I'm just going to check everything to this horizon line. And really, since this isn't the final version, and in the final version, I'll mock it up in 3D first so that I can make sure that all of my vanishing lines are absolutely straight. But I'm going to go ahead and give myself some vanishing lines now, just to give it a little bit of a rough layout so that I know where everything is. Like his shoulders should be more like this, right? I'm going to do more like that kind of thing here. And give him his vest. It's this vest he wears. She's wearing a vest too, but... And maybe I'll let his coat sort of flow out like this too. This is pulp after all, and pulp looks good whenever things are kind of flowy and stuff. And then we'll give it some buildings here that are kind of counterpoint on this, and Give some post-apocalypticness going for it. And kind of this sort of everything's screwed up sort of background. And you kind of bent things. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this sketch because if they don't want the design of this and I've spent an hour on it, I'm going to feel really bad. I'll be like, So instead, I just want to give enough data that they can see what I'm doing. Right? So I feel kind of like we're crowding on this side, so I'm going to pull this guy back. The buildings can only be far enough back that they're like a broken car over here. It looks sad. Sad car. Right, so we'll break some windows out. Have some dead robots on the ground here. That's a dead robot. There were robots. They were early on. It's actually kind of an interesting and unique world that she's built in here. Okay, so we'll go back through and I'll just clean this up now. All right, let's get some of that cleaned up. Clean up, as I say always, clean up the anatomy. Start cleaning up this anatomy here and give him some color to work with here. Right. There we go. Pull that out so that you can kind of see where I'm heading on this. There we go. And we'll give him his kind of wild and crazy hair here. Maybe not that wild. Boy, I went way wild, didn't I? I didn't mean to go wild like that. We'll sketch in on this one. Not that wild. Ooh, his hair's wild, but it's not that wild. All right. The chin. No one knows except the chin. Kind of putting in forgotten what kind of nose I gave him. There, huh? Maybe I don't want that mouth to look like that. There we go. He's looking off that way. She's looking right at us. So let's go ahead and clean that up. Clean up her anatomy. She's Pacific Islander. So we've got kind of a cool amount of anatomy that we're working on with her. Just kind of getting the hair correct is going to be difficult. You've got curly black hair, which is kind of, it's difficult when you don't have curly black hair, like I don't. Difficult to kind of figure out the way that it falls. I have a niece who's got hair that's very similar, so at least I have some experience, but it is still kind of complicated and difficult to think and to visualize where, you know, the hair falls and things like that. All right, so she's got this vest. There we go. Coming along here. Now let's give her more hip because she has no hip. Then I need to bring her arm up. So we'll bring the arm up. I think we can't. Let's real quickly make sure we've got this thing saved. Always need to save. There we go. There. Take the guides out. And we've got at least one relatively decent sketch to kind of give you an idea of where the layout is. I'll start with that. Move on. More forehead. This. Yeah, I did too. I think we're solid on this one. Let's talk about another sketch design. So another layer. Another thought I had was to go the other direction with like so, and her down here, like so, overlooking the ocean, what I think would also work very well. I also want to make it water in the story. So I did, by the way. Looks like you're having connections. I'm having connection issues. You know what, Brent? We replaced. I replaced the little what's its thing with the thing that you recommended with the 2 ears. I don't think it's this. I actually have been of the opinion that we have a problem with connectivity out here. So it may be a connectivity issue. Hang on real quick. We need to find OBS. There's what we're looking for. So I think it's a connectivity issue. Audio is good, but it's no video. Yeah, I've got 1 bar over here on the transmission source. So I'm thinking that what I've got is a problem with Xfinity out in this neighborhood. Yesterday, I was talking on my phone, which I had set for wireless calling or for Wi-Fi calling, and the call just dropped over and over and over and over. Our router is ours. We purchased the router. Yeah, we purchased the router, and it belongs to us, and I bought the best router I could find, wireless router. Yeah, but that's, I don't know. I paid $150 for it just last year. So I'd be kind of aggravated if it was the router. It would have been a year and a half ago, probably not. So long enough that the warranty's out, but not long enough for it to be viable. You know what I mean? I hate for it to be the router. Year and a half or so. So, like I said, old enough to be out of warranty, but not old enough to warrant it. That's plausible. The firmware might need to be updated. In fact, that could very well be the problem. Yeah, it could also be Comcast tethering in the area. That's a thing. They do. So, okay, well, we're gonna go back to work here for a little while. Now we've got green bars again. So we'll head back over to the monitor for just a little bit longer. Okay. So this is my second thought process here. And I kind of like the idea of reversing the trope. So make this her and make this him. So let's reverse this trope, because reversing the trope's funny. I like reversing the trope. So we'll put her up here. This might be a good, second book cover. Yeah, that's what it's a rotor. It's a rotor rodem. It's a rodem. Ours is a mixed modem rotor modem. Router and modem, which I think is great to call it a rodem. I've decided that. The thing about putting the ship in here is there's a good risk that people will think this is the silver pentacle. Right, so but if I have him holding it out like so, which, by the way, neither one of these are the silver pentacle. The little device he's holding is not the silver pentacle, and the ship is not the silver pentacle. This is a reference to the story arc that she's making here. But that the author is making here. But we could do something like this, which has them looking out to sea over this ship, which I can make not look straight up like it's a sailing ship, even though it has sails. It also is modern-esque. There we go. This one's less like the classic pulp covers. We'll add some like crashed vehicles down here just to give it the effect that we are in still like a post-apocalyptic world. We make like a sunrise out of it, right?
It's time to take a
All right. Time for us to take a quick break and stand up. So, okay, everybody who's joining me, that means you too, Colton. Time to stand up, stretch. Stretch it out. It's been an hour. Shake out the hands. It's good for you. This is all good for you. Okay, we walk around the room a little bit. Get a quick walk around the room. Look outside. A lot of air coming in from outside. It's nice out there. It's nice out there. Come back around. Okay. Okay, good for us. See you tomorrow, my friend, and I will pet George wherever he went. He was here somewhere, but then I guess he decided to go. he takes the mornings now and goes and hangs out with the kid since the kid's on spring break. So he'll run around like a crazy cat until I start the show here, and then he seems to go crawl into bed and then just go back to sleep. So, he has to be crazy cat in the middle of the night. That's important. So he has to sleep during the day. Also important if you're a cat. Have cat issues. Okay. Back to work for us. So I'm liking, this is sort of sketch 2 here on this. Kind of giving this a good kind of rough design. Now I may go back and clear these up as time goes on. Just trying to make it look right. Stretch breaks. Okay. All right. There we go. Just kind of putting in details. Might want to go back in and reread the section about the boat on this one. But this is a good second cover sketch here. I think we're kind of coming up with a concept that's usable. So this is my second cover design. And this one I feel like isn't going to fit well unless I put in some rough colors. So let's go ahead and put in some just basic rough colors, like out here in the blue. We'll do this. We'll add multiply. And I'll just come in here and just kind of add some blue to indicate water. All right. Like that. A bit orange. Kind of go up onto the sky with. and give her dress green, although it needs to be a bigger brush for this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're just being a pest on that, aren't we? There. Give some color concepts kind of going on here. Kind of getting an idea of what my color blocks are going to look like. Right? I mean, like, what are my color blocks? Anybody know? No, nobody knows. So it might not be a bad idea to decide what colors are where. There we go. We're just putting white in here to kind of give the sun sort of a feeling of, glow, like it's glowing. I'll come on here with the orange. Get a much bigger brush. Kind of do this with the sky. Right. Do something about his pants over here. Right. Yeah. That's too much. Too much brush. Too little brush. That's just right, right? Important kind of to see what's going on here with this. Boy, this looks like a 5-year-old painted this. That's all right. It is a rough. The whole idea behind it's a rough. All right. So now looking at it, right off the bat, I'm feeling a little uneasy about the sun to hair thing going because he's got blonde hair. So I kind of feel uneasy about this spot right through here. So I may decide to dump the sun part. So what I'm going to do first, though, I'm going to take this and I'm going to merge these two together. Right. Then I can do this with it and be fine. But this will allow me to kind of go back in now. I'm going to just kind of pull this sun out. It's not going to be sunset anymore. Let's go ahead and just get this going blue. Smart me totally merged layers and then had to go back and repaint over it. Not, repaint and then merge layers, but that's okay. We can redo all of this. It's not a big deal. We're just making it a bright day. I'm not liking any of this. I like the layout and I like the design, but boy, the sketch is rough. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like we should probably spend an entire day on one sketch instead of trying to get 2 sketches out in one day. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe I can at least save some of this by kind of blurring in here a little. Maybe it's just the painting looks. I can just bring up the painting a little bit, it won't be so bad. Well, better. Kind of just roughing this out here. Oh yeah, I know. I haven't talked to many people in over a year, come to think of it. Everything is kind of going along. It works very well for me to do this show every day because it ensures that I'm doing 2 hours worth of drawing every day, which is really good for me. My kid was in remote learning up until about 3 weeks ago when we finally said, you know what, this isn't working. And so we put him back in school. He's doing much better now that he's back in school. So there's that. That's a big plus. Let's see here. Wife she's gotten both doses of the vaccine, and now I think last weekend was her 2 weeks since. So now she is 100% covered, but she's a teacher. So she was in that first group of people to get it. I still haven't gotten my vaccine, but we are open for vaccines for you and me starting Friday. So I assume that we won't get it right away, but hey, that's pretty good. That's a plus. Let's see what else is going on. I mean, it's been COVID. Thank you. I do have the cover for this book, which is cool. We're going to have to work on the nice. Congrats. Yeah, I think we'll be getting our shots pretty soon, for me anyway. So that's kind of where we are. My dad wasn't doing so well, but he's doing better now. So there's that. He had sort of a rough bout in February, and so I went down there to see him in March, last part of February, early part of March. So yeah, I mean, this is a cool project. So what are you doing? I mean, I've seen a lot of your art, and it's totally changing, and I love it. I love where it's changing to, and I love what's happening to it. It's looking solid. I feel like you're kind of establishing a style and kind of branching out. You look good, man. The work looks awesome. You look solid. So are you just continuing to work now that you're not in school, so you're just continuing to attempt to kind of move with this, or are you on school remote? What's the story? What's going on in your world? This is a good distraction because I'm not liking this picture. Not liking where we're going on this one. So if ever there was this looks like this was drawn by a 4-year-old. It's this picture right here. My proportions suck. Which is this makes me kind of ponder. It's one of the reasons why I use 3D is because the proportions here suck on this direct sketch. And maybe I just don't stick with it long enough. I don't know. So I'm not sticking long enough to do the proportion fixes on this. How is life on Colton's side? Gotcha. So you've been like remote learning? That's why you're not actually over there, which makes sense. You and my kid, remote learning. Fix your proportions, guy. I don't know. I mean, this isn't bad. Once the proportions are fixed, it's really not that bad. Not that bad. Yep. Concept artist. I've been trying to follow online artists and try to get my concept painting up to speed, because my painting, as you can see, as is so elegantly expressed by this, my painting is not the world's best. This is not my highlight skill. However, I mean, it's a thing and it pays well. If you've got the skills, it does well for painting. So, or painting does well for paying for the bills and things like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been trying to figure out how to do concept art for a while. I mean, if nothing else, if you can get your painting down to like 2 hours, even if it pays $100 for a painting, that's $50 an hour, and that's not bad. So that's, it's certainly pretty decent wages if you can get to that stage. So, I think game concept artist is definitely a good field. I think that's awesome. Awesome's awesome. There we go. Working at FedEx is also not a bad thing. I've noticed that a lot of us end up at FedEx or Kinko's, or we just, because it means that when our art is done, we can make copies of it. It's a thing. We admit openly to being basic about this whole thing. We totally admit that. So we're like, we're opportunistic about this. We're okay. Grab some of this, sort of this tan over here. Get more of his shoulder this way. Going that way. Coming out like so. That was an interesting choice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I'll have to do that sometime, because I feel like there's an awful lot of like painting things that I just don't do right. Huh. Well, you can't actually photocopy as a driver, though. Don't photocopy while driving. Just saying. Aren't you glad you have me here to help? Okay. I'm so useful. I've noticed a lot of us do. We gravitate towards FedEx. I've learned a lot, painting-wise, by the way, by watching my favorite artists. They'll release a video of how they do their things and stuff like that, and I'll watch those videos. And that's been very useful to me. Like, why are you not doing what you're supposed to be doing? You're not. There we go. That's what I wanted. There we go. Just saying. And now I've saved your life, Colton. I've saved your life by telling you that thing. Because you would have totally done it if I didn't. And you know it. Just saying. Admit it, you miss me. I'm weird. But at least I am predictably weird. There we go. There we go, just like that. Yep, you totally would have not done it if I hadn't said something, if I hadn't intervened. It's one of those things. I miss all kinds of stuff from, man. Like, I miss going to conventions. I miss being able to hug people. Just hugging people is like, that's a thing that just can't happen anymore, and it's so aggravating because it's like, and darker blue than that. Come on, pick up the blue. There we go. That's what I want. All of the things that I wish we could just do. We'll be able to soon, but man, it's been rough. It's just been rough. Okay, so we've increased some of the anatomy. We've fixed the anatomy a little bit. It doesn't look horrible anymore. It doesn't look like a 5-year-old made it. But now we've moved up to like an 11-year-old. Right? Being able to, really, that's the one thing that's the weirdest thing I hadn't even thought of, the pandemic hitting, is all of us night owls that stay up until 4 a.m. It's like there is zero services open at 4 a.m. anymore. Nothing's open. You might as well just crawl back into your bed and die at like 9, because everything's going to be shut down by then. So it is very strange. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of a thing. Okay, let's go back to the first drawing here. Man, none of these look good. Am I having, I must be having some kind of strange imposter syndrome morning or something. I don't know what's going on. But I think I might want to let these cool their heels for 24 hours and come back and revisit them tomorrow. Sometimes I just need to do that. The other thing is, it might not be bad to spin up DAS and model these, in hopes that we can kind of get an idea of what's going on and physically model them. That might be what we need to do, because I'm just hating on these a lot. Yeah. Okay, well, we are there. This is where we are. Let's go on ahead and I'll save this and we'll let it cool its heels. In the meantime, we're going to go back and we're going to fix some of the other pieces that are here. Like this piece here. The piece isn't bad, but I really didn't put, it's not as, if you look at the last piece, yeah, that's what I need to do on that one. If you look at the last piece that we did on this set, and actually, like, the piece that I love the most is number 6, as far as pieces go. And this is a much, much more dynamic, there's things going on. It's a graphically intense picture. Yeah, the illustration 1's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But illustration 6 is like a level above, right? There's something completely different about illustration 6. This is an entirely different level up on it. And so I want to go back to illustration 1 kind of fix that and make it work so that it doesn't feel like these are two completely different artists here between these two. So let's bring up illustration 1 in its PSD form. A, B, C, D, E. Where the heck are all of these guys? That's Helio 1E. 1E is what I'm looking for. And B is a different critter. Maybe it is B. Because all I've got is a JPEG of E. So I'm wondering whether B has all of the information. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. Did I just not save this? That would suck. Having to work solely off of a JPEG? That'd be rough. Yeah, this particular piece here is just such a level up. This one. 6. I feel like I've kind of shot myself in the foot. I don't know here. That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I'd be here. It's the way it goes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. We'll have to work off of E itself. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is duplicate this layer. Yeah, well, we can take this guy and just wipe him out. Because I feel like I should get a lot more varying degrees off of this background. So I'm going to go on ahead and just pull this background out because it's really not needed. Oh, this is one of those where the good news is this was pretty solid. And I really appreciate that. I do feel like I have improved quite a bit. And I owe it all pretty much to this show, just being here on the show all the time. It's required me to draw every day, and that's a big deal. Every single day I've had to draw. Okay, we're gonna come down here because these guys aren't bad. The ink on this is great. It's just that comparatively speaking, it might be too close. Yeah, it's too close. That's all right. I don't need that. Because now we look at this guy here, we've got a variegated background going on for that. So let's go ahead and do that. Right? I mean, that's totally the thing. Because I do this, I broadcast for 2 hours every day. I get the ability to just work all the time. And he's got some good brushes. Look at some of the stuff that he's got over here. This is one of my sort of favorite guys that I follow. That's not what I want. He's got a whole bunch of sampled brushes. His Big Soft is great for a lot of things, but I feel kind of like I'm still trying to just kind of get this, as kind of rough, smoky background. we get kind of, there it is. It's up on here. There we go. We don't want that. We don't need that, actually. We just kind of do this. All right, so we're kind of doing that. A new layer and put it under here. Make this with white. At least that'll help us a little there. See what we're doing, because these are leaves. And maybe we don't want leaves. I wouldn't have noticed that because of all the squares. Okay, back here to non-leaves. And this is saying sort of a watery brush, which leaves watermarks. That's what he's saying. Gotcha. So the artist here is Chinese. And so a lot of these are in Chinese, which I can read sort of because I read Japanese, but it's still kind of not quite the same. So I'm kind of taking a guess on some of this stuff. Chinese and Japanese are similar in much the same way that, say, French and English are. If you can guess that some of the words, you can kind of guess what they mean because they're similar between the two, so you can make sort of an educated guess. So in a lot of ways, I can make an educated guess because these characters I can read, but and they're ideograms, so they mean each character has a meaning. I can see the character here for water being used. So this is a water brush of some sort, like a watercolor. But then this is point child, and I don't know what point child is. So it's like, I don't know what that means in a relative sense. Some of them are obvious and some of them are not. It's kind of funny. So we just want some light texture back here. I wonder if I can just take like this and get, ooh, look at that. Look at that. That looks nice. Just kind of trying to get some, chaos going back here. Make it look rough back there. Ooh, I like this point brush a lot. There we go. Closer to what we're looking for. All right. Then back here. Ooh, yeah, that's even better. Kind of go up here and kind of tap in a little bit with this spray. All we're doing is just giving texture to this thing. There we go. Making it look chaotic. Something going on behind it. Now we're going to take this guy. I'm going to go for a new raster layer on top of it. I'm going to come in here with some actual brush work. We're going to just brush it in. First thing we're going to do, though, is we can't actually easily do this, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and then I'm going to color in on this bottom part here. So we're going to just see if this works. Take this layer, and we're going to have to multiply it to make it visible. So we're going to come in here and kind of do this. This will make this guy stand out a better. Make him look meaner. There we go. Yeah, it's looking a whole lot better. It's not like this was a bad piece. This was totally a fine piece. But it needs to be kind of put in a little bit better and just a little bit more detail. Right? And then this guy back here, he's like brightly colored. We'll fix some of this here in a minute, but for right now, that's not what I want to do. We're just gonna, he's shiny, so I don't need to go in too much and work on him. We are gonna do these guys in a different shade though. You can, that fill line can be that way if it wants. It's fine. There we go. I'm a whole lot better once this is in. Like so. And this fill line can be like that too. There. Yeah. So we'll bring this guy up. Like so. Snag that and do that. Connect everything. And then we will apparently make a mistake. And then we can take this and put it like that. And the car can be all crushed and stuff. There we go. Crush the metal on the side there. Okay. Now we can kind of go back through and fix the things that we need to fix. We'll add a new raster layer. And come back in now with my G pen. Bring up the size a little bit. We can kind of, not that. We'll take this will be the shading. So we'll bring this down to 33%. And we'll hit the underside of it like this. Here we go. Come in here and kind of do that. The Scorpion bot here, he's painted. And see you later. See you in a sec. He's painted in my mind's eye, so he's camouflaged or something. Whatever's the story, he's not shiny like the security bot in the background there. We'll kind of come around here like so. And kind of offset catch these are divoted. So like so. We'll come through here We're just giving some depth in the metal so that it makes some sense and some logical sense as to what's going on. All of this is like that. There we go. All of this is going to be underneath here, like so. Come on here. And welcome back to the stage of history. All right, kind of come along here. So what I'm doing here is just giving some highlight along the side so that this gives some depth to the actual mech. And come along here like so. Like that. And then we will go up here. Just kind of trying to give these legs some definition because they don't really exist in their own sort of world right now. So I put some shadow on them. There we go. Now we'll do the same kind of thing here, but not as much with this mech because he's actually supposed to be reflective. So it's only things like I'm going to put some light shading up here because he's mostly metal, just like bare metal. As I had said yesterday when we were doing the character's arm on that fourth piece, with metal, it's pretty much just random dots all over the place. I am again off on the wrong pen. Okay, now this is looking a whole lot better than it did before. This is going to be then an overlay layer. We're going to go the other direction, not pink. We're going to go the other direction. Right? Just highlights here. if you use overlay, then some of these will actually turn out cool, and then some of these will be like, they'll be very shiny and bright, and then some of them will be very just subdued depending on what color we used. But either way, we're giving depth to this. Now they're more deep, and it's got more depth, and it looks better. It didn't even take that long really to do. And we're much better off on this piece. It looks a whole lot better. So that's much nicer. Now I'm going to add some chatter in the front. I want chatter in the front. So I'm going to take some of this running color spray, and I'm just going to chatter it in the front just so that it doesn't look, it looks more like something's going on here. We got dirt and dust, and which is durst, apparently. Durst. Kind of going on in the front here. We got just things happening. And since I put it on a different layer, I can settle it back. So once we've kind of gotten where I'm headed for, I'm going to settle some of this middle stuff back so that it's not quite so rough in here. I do want smoke. Look, I'm not getting enough. Sort of smoky stuff going on in the background. I really want it to be smoky and nasty. Like they're fighting all the time back here. Like right through here, we've got kind of smoke coming up. I'm going to kind of make this darker in this section, right? Like something's on fire. There we go. Much more like what I'm after. Right? Just giving some ambiance over here. There. That's much more like what you'd expect to see out of a mech battle. I like this piece a lot better now. Working a lot more like I want it to. Now it's a mech piece. There's a fight going on. Mechs are going everywhere. I see, that's the way it should be. You're going to do mechs. Do them right. I actually was pretty excited to get this particular task because I got mech versus mech battle right off the bat. And I was like, ooh, I get mechs. Nothing wrong with mechs. Mechs are great, you know? Like just the way it should be. So we're going ahead and kind of call this one good here in a second, and I'll turn this guy back in. We're adding stuff to the front. I didn't mean to. There we go. Got about 5 minutes left. I'm going ahead and I'm just going to put some. And this does say cloud, so there's at least that. I'm going to put some ground dust in, dirt, dust, ground stuff down here just so that we can kind of make it look like it's got ground going on for it. But leaves are probably just not going to cut it. I like the leaves, but they're not going to cut it. I can tell already. And that's kind of cool. I don't think that's what I'm after, but that's kind of cool. Just lightly touch around here, a little bit here. Just kind of go like that. There. I feel like we're getting closer and closer to this piece being very, very done. Yeah, I'm liking this. There we go. That's pretty good. I feel like we're getting there. Alrighty. Last thing we will do is see if I can't get my Hunko on here, and we'll stamp this, and we'll call it good. Yeah, not there. I have to do a tonal correction, and we have to do a reverse gradient. I'm going to have to, you know what I need? I just need to, somewhere along the line. Level correction. That's not what I want. Tonal correction. Hue set. Take the saturation out. Luminosity up. Nope. Nope. Then we will take this guy and we will go screen. Put him down here. And then I'll go back in on this. What I'll do is I'll just put it just a little underneath it like so. So you can see it. There we go. That is a much better piece, I feel. Get it out of the JPEG mode, though. One last thing I want to kind of try, and that is to put... I've done this before with other pieces. We'll do this real quick, and then we'll go to lunch. We will break for lunch. But I'm going to give one little shot here. Going into my shared resources, I have a bunch of watercolor backgrounds. And I made these at one point in time, just a bunch of watercolors so that I could have just the patterns here. So I'm going to take this pattern. I'm going to bring it into the piece, like so. I resize, so that's the size of the piece. And all I'm really after with this is to give sort of a pattern, right? Just to give roughness to it. You can see already how it's working. So I'm just going to go real quickly, go in and give a tonal correction. Hue sat, and take the saturation out. So it'll be totally gray, right? But if I bring its luminosity up, like so, it gives a pattern to the picture and giving it sort of the effect that it's painted without actually having to make it painted. So that's what I'm going to add to this just to make it a thing. So there we go. And I'm going to call that good. Now, I really should Control-Shift-E, flatten it all down. And once it's all flattened down, then I could take real quick and do a tonal correction, level correction, and bring up the brightness of the whole piece to about maybe there, right? And some contrast to it. Come here, George. There we go. And George is here for just the last part of the show. Isn't that nice of him? So we definitely have George for the Sometimes George part of the show. So there we go. Okay, guys. Colton, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. It was good talking to you. I miss you. I'm hoping that you'll hang with me more often. If you want to just join me in the mornings and just draw, that's sort of the point, was to kind of do this as sort of the online version of RTG. So I'll draw and I'll chat, and you can draw and you can chat and stuff like that. So sometimes George joins me and sometimes George doesn't. So anyway, I will see you and everyone else later. Until then, keep your eyes on the stars, and we'll be back tomorrow.